Okay, this is the 1960s robot. Okay, so what I did here was I've seen another person on YouTube who had a similar one, and it was the body wasn't rotating. So you see this here. I put Loctite on there. This was spinning with that, so it wouldn't rotate. Okay, so you can see right there. I put the Loctite on it, and just for measures, I put some Loctite on the back. Okay, so this moves freely. Now, this one here is from the newer version. These you can find like $15. What I found was that this here from the newer version will fit onto this. And the gears here are almost the same. There's very little difference. One here has, if I can find the other one, had it here. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is the older, from the new version. This is from this one here. So you see the difference there is the teeth are a little narrower, but it still fits in. It will go in. Everything's the same, except that is just a little bit narrow, the teeth. Now they make these teeth that you can buy online. There's a guy that sells them. So another person had the same problem, but what he did was solder it. Well, I didn't want to solder it. I know how strong the Loctite is, and to me that would be just so much easier. Now another thing is these legs. The robot never walked. Barely would walk, and these were big space in between here, and it's that crooked. So what I found out that this bar here was bent. That one here had a pretty good bend in it. So I took that out. I had to Dremel this here in order to get that pin out, the little tab rather. And now the other one from this version here, this here part there, it's actually the same length, but it's not the same diameter. You can put it on a drill and sand it, and get it down to the thickness that you need. Also, I noticed that another reason why these won't walk straight was this must have fell at one time. And see up here, there was a huge slot. See how it should be nice and, not, I won't say tight, but it should have such a big opening. This had a large opening, and it must have fell at one time, put a V shape in this. So that was bent all the way up. So you see how like this here, how that sits. So I had to close this up because that was very wide. And now the legs, how they sit, they're pretty good. So another thing I did was I have this tri-flow here. I use this on my RC helicopter. This stuff is incredible. Use it very, very sparingly. What I did was it got to the point where this robot wouldn't even open its doors, and these two, that gear and that top, was frozen together. And put some lubricant in there, and it almost worked immediately. It just freed up everything. So after I put this gear back on, this original, I would spin it, and it would work, but it was still, you could feel there was a little bit of difficulty. So I used my tri-flow, basically, one or two drops on here, put one on one or two drops on the gear, put it in there, put a drop right in here on the arm, and now if I spin this here, it works perfectly, almost effortlessly. It will move the legs. Also, on this here, this was missing the switch. So what I did was I took the switch out of this one, because this one wasn't working anymore. Took the switch off that, kept the housing from the original, and mounted it inside Just have to bend the tabs on the other one. Fit right in there nice and snug. And there it is there. So now at least I have an on-off switch. But you know, it's not really difficult to take these apart. You just need to take your time. Here are some of the tools that I used. I find it easier to take it apart. But that's about it. I very lightly oil these. And it makes a world of difference. Same thing for the gear. I noticed a huge difference once I did that little plastic gear. It just turns so much more freely. But that's about it. I've had this thing for about 25 years and it really did work. And this one here is from the other one. Now keep in mind, this here will actually go on to here. If you wanted to use it from that, you'd have to paint this, or if you didn't really care. But yes, this will go on to here. Goes right in the tabs. Of course, this, you can see the difference from this one here. This one actually rides on that one, but it will work. The door probably would work as well if you want to interchange them. So that's about it. I cleaned it up. Everything seems to be moving nice and freely now. And it's just a matter of putting it back together. But there's another video on YouTube where you can actually, this gentleman, I forget his username, but he has pictures displayed on what tabs need to be removed and so on. So he shows the pictures, so I thought I'd make the video and actually showing you parts a little bit differently, but that's what I do with that. Just a, you know, the red Loctite on there, and it doesn't move anymore. Because that would rotate the body. Before that whole thing there would turn freely with it. I mean, it was just frozen to it, really. And once I put the lube on it, it freed up. And I just cleaned it up, put the Loctite on. Bottom wasn't a problem, but see that I'm putting it back together. Put the Loctite on that as well. That's about it. Hope this helps out some of you guys who want to actually take one of these robots apart that you're having problems with and put it back together. All right, bye.